Hello everyone and welcome to our Magic webinar series. Today's presentation we're going to cover some tips and tricks. Part 3, yes, we've done this a couple of times. We have one of our veteran AMS support representatives, Diane Clem.
Hi everyone.
As well as myself, Frank Rittersdorf, will be putting on the presentation today. And as always, we're coming to you live from Simi Valley, California, and I'm sure you recognize the presenters, but I do want to introduce to you some of the people that kind of help us out in the background there, where we have Sabrina Steffen, who really coordinates and communicates with our associations to let you guys know when we're putting these presentations on for you, as well as Mark Boatman, who really kind of hooks us up, gets us recorded so we can post it on the website, our website, and you can listen to these presentations over and over again. And yes, our newest version is still 10.1.08. We know there's a number of associations that have not upgraded yet. Make sure you get up to the latest and greatest. Give us a call. Our Magic support staff is waiting by.
Standing by for you.
And let's talk about the agenda. We're going to make this nice, short, and quick for you. Today, we're going to look at the print in the PDF format options, as well as managing those IMS batches and maybe when you would have to manage those IMS batches, as well as unlocking those unwanted user logins that you might come across. Let's go ahead and get started.
We all know that Magic reports can be printed or even previewed on your screen. But did you know that Magic has a button you can select in order to print or preview your Magic reports as a PDF? Let's go to Magic. When you open Magic, you see there's a tool ribbon across the top, and next to the printer icon, you'll see a red button that says PDF. Click on that button, and you can select one of two options. You can output to PDF, which allows you to create a PDF and store it on your network. And you can also select Preview PDF, which allows you to preview the document at the same time it's being saved. We're going to select both options so you can see how they work. We're going to run a very quick report for you. We're only going to select one office in our member report so that we can let you see how simple this is and how convenient. You click Create Report. There's no need to redirect it all. Click Yes, and you'll see that Magic will ask you where you want to store the document. In our case, we're just storing it to the desktop. We're going to overwrite an existing document. And Magic automatically allows you to preview that document in PDF format. This gives you a lot more flexibility than in the usual way, and it also allows you to save a little bit of paper. When you're finished, you can go back to that PDF button and deselect that option so that your reports will go back to the usual way of being printed, that is to be sent to the printer or previewed to your screen, either way. So in Magic, you have an option to print your reports in PDF format. Use the red button on the ribbon in Magic. You can set it to send to PDF to store it any place in your network or preview the PDF at the same time. You do have to deselect those checkboxes in order to be able to print in other formats.
Thank you, Diane. Now let's talk about managing IMS batches. I'm sure you or some of your other staff members have maybe gotten calls from members stating that maybe they can't pay the payments on the IMS or they can't register. IMS is not allowing them to do that. Well, one of the most simple and common reasons is because the IMS batch has reached its limit. And let's take a look at what we're discussing here. Let's go back to Magic. First, we're going to go to Managers, Internet Member Services, IMS Setup Form. You're going to look for your IMS association and for the portal, and go ahead and click on the service setup for that association. And here you have a list of a number of services. And a lot of these are connected to an accounting setup. So any service that they're able to process a transaction allows them will have an accounting setup. Most commonly is the AR, or the accounts receivable service. As you look at the bottom, you can see the accounting setup is highlighted. It lets us know that this does have an accounting setup. Before you want to make any changes, or before you can make any changes, you do need to hit Modify Mode in this form. Then you click on the accounting setup. On the left-hand side, you're going to see some setup for the accounting side of it. One is the bill group. Then you can change the batch frequency. Most of our associations are doing daily, as well as batch prefix and the last batch ID. So since we have the frequency set up to daily, every single day there will be a new ID created. In our case, we have AR020. So we just changed this a little bit ago. When it reaches 999, that's the limit of the IDs. So from there, we will need to change that prefix, so it will reset the count. So I could do A00. I like to do that and hit Tab. Notice the ID changes. Now you probably like to avoid the whole call where the members has the inconvenience of not being able to make those payments right then and there when they need to. And Magic is set up to help you do that. And the way that they do that is they will send a warning email to you after the ID of 969. So send you an email, and you're probably like, well, what email are they going to send? Well, the first option they're going to look at is this email address here. If you have the email notification set to Y, and you do have a valid email address in this field. If you do not, Magic looks at, and I'll take you there, he's going to look at the Managers, Membership, Association Information Form. You're going to look at the association that's linked to the IMS, and you're going to look under the Internet button. This top email address is the backup email address. So if you do not have email notifications set to yes, or you don't have a valid email address in there, it will not send. It will send to this email address. So definitely make sure that both of those emails are up to date and active emails. Let's go back to the IMS setup form. So we're going to go to Internet Member Services, IMS setup form. Again, choose our IMS association and go to Service Setup. Now we're going to go in our accounts receivable again. So again, now you can see that the batch ID is going to be A000. We do have an email notification set to yes, and email address. Our email address is, well, it's as valid as it can be for a webinar presentation, but it is set up, and it will. That's when we. So when we do get to A00970, we'll get a warning message to go ahead and start resetting that before it gets to the limit. Let's review. The one last thing I do want to mention before we do review, though, is once you've reset the prefix in the batch, you want to go ahead and make sure that the status gets activated as well, because when the IMS batch ID reaches its limit, it also inactivates that service. So we need to make sure we activate that service so they can actually get in that area and pay those dues. Again, this is not just with the AR. If your education or your events service where they're able to register gets to the limit, then that will also not allow them to transact payments and registrations, and you'll have to change it under that service as well. Let's review. So we're managing our IMS batches. Now there's a maximum of 999 IMS batch IDs per prefix. Magic will send a warning when the batch ID ends with 970. And you're asking to what email? Well, again, we're looking at the email in the accounting setup, but the email notification has to be set to yes, and there has to be an email address in that field and for that service. Otherwise, Magic will look at the IMS Association Information Form under the Internet button and look at that top email address there. If the ID reaches to number 999, there will be no more transactions processed and the service will be inactivated. You can reset the count by changing the batch prefix, but make sure you reactivate this service too so they can get in there and process their business. If you do not have the rights, feel free to give our Magic support a call. We'll jump right in there and do that for you as well.
Thank you, Frank. The next thing we're going to talk about is unlocking user logins. You may have come across an instance when you try to log into Magic, but you find out the number of Magic logins have exceeded the available licenses. Or maybe you're trying to reactivate the scheduler after the machine it was running on was shut down unexpectedly, such as in the case of your server restarting after Windows updates were run. In either case, you will not be able to log in another user into Magic, or you won't be able to reactivate the scheduler until you've cleared errant logins in your system. There is a way to look at who's logged in Magic and for you to remove anyone who shouldn't be logged in at the time. So let's go to Magic. Click on Managers, System Setup, User Maintenance, and Who is On. Now in our case, we only have one user logged in, and that's us, so we can't remove that login or you won't see us anymore. In your case, you'll see a list of people logged in, including possibly the scheduler. And the thing that you want to look at, as far as users are concerned, is the date. If this date is a past date, the chances are that user didn't close Magic down correctly and Magic still thinks they're logged in. In the case of the scheduler, you'll see the schedule login here, even though the scheduler is not up and running. And in either case, you can correct that situation by going into Modify mode and using your F3 key to delete the login. Again, we can't delete our own login, but it's very simple. Just go Control M to go into Modify mode, and then you can delete the user that doesn't belong logged in from Who is On. So you can unlock user logins in Magic. This happens most commonly when the scheduler is closed unexpectedly, or if you have more staff logged in than the number of licenses available. You'll go from Managers to System Setup to User Maintenance and Who is On. Go into Modify mode and use your F3 key to delete or remove an unwanted user login. This is the same scenario as in the batch prefix, in that if you don't have the rights to do this, if you can't get into Modify mode, give us a call in AMS support and we'll take care of it for you.
Great job, Diane. Now let's go ahead and summarize. We talked about printing in the PDF format and how you also can preview and have that PDF pop up right for you right when you need it as it's being saved. Do remember you must unclick the checkboxes to print in other formats if you no longer want to print in the PDF format. We talked about managing the IMS batches. Make sure you look for that warning email when the batch number gets to 970. And make sure you check those emails to make sure they're active emails and someone is receiving or looking at that email address. Also, we talked about unlocking unwanted user logins, whether it's the scheduler that was closed down unexpectedly, or you have too many staff members logged in, maybe from a staffer that's no longer there, and like Diane said, logged out of the Magic software incorrectly, and so that they're stuck in there. So again, F3 Control for the Modify mode, and then F3 will get you go ahead to remove those logins for you. Now it's the question and answer section here. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of your questions here and see if we have any and answer those for you.
And I think that some of you are still wondering what, you run into the situation where you can see that you need to fix these things and you don't have the rights to do so, you can't get into Modify mode. Do feel free to give us a call and we can help you do that. We can log in as Rap staff and do that. And thank you, Vanessa. We love your awesome comments. If you end up with additional questions that you would like to ask us after this webinar, do visit our website at webinars@rapattoni.com and we will answer any questions you ask us there.
And now it's time to let you know what's happening with the Rapattoni 411. What?
Thank you, Frank.
Our next Magic webinar will be held July 16th, 2014. It's what's new. We actually, our next presentation will show you what exciting new functions and enhancements are upcoming for the Magic software. We do have a couple things up our sleeve, so make sure you're here July 16th to be the first to know what's going on.
And to view past and future webinars and to register for upcoming webinars, visit our website at www.rapattoni.com. Click on Support, Magic, Webinars and Training Videos, and you'll see a complete list of our past webinars, and you can also register for upcoming webinars. If you want to look for additional information, you can click on Support, Magic, and Magic Resource Articles. There are several articles posted there that cover different topics based on frequently asked questions.
And that is it for our presentation today. We thank you for joining, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.